Team Nigeria, about to be on television, y'all.
It's all about firsts for Team Nigeria, the first and only African nation in the world of curling. The first Nigerian men's team to compete on a world stage in the 2019 Pacific Asia Championships, and all in a remarkably short space of time.
My name is TJ Cole, and I'm captain of Team Nigeria. And sitting to my left, stage right, is Harold Woods III, who is our skip of the men's team. And over here to my right, stage left, is Fabian, my son. And together we form the Nigerian Federation men's team.
Nigeria only became members of the World Curling Federation in September 2018. This is a country with no history in the sport and, more importantly, no curling ice.
It is a disadvantage, but you can't look at it in that manner within the aspects of dry curling. Yes, you don't have actions of slide and the balance of ice, but what you can advance on is the strategy of it. The strategy of the game, because that in a sense is still the same.
It was a meeting of the minds between Nigerian curlers based in the US and those wanting to establish the sport at home in Lagos, the capital of Nigeria, that led to the setting up of the Nigerian Curling Federation.
We're not a curling nation. We weren't a curling nation, but we are a curling nation now. We are currently implementing a 5-year plan throughout the country of Nigeria where we're trying to create over 100 teams. It's a very interesting reaction because we say coiling. We say coiling in Nigeria, and people are fascinated by the entire sport. They're fascinated on a multitude of levels. It's a totally new sport in terms of strategy, in terms of athleticism, which also brings another level of interest in the sport. It's a culmination of all of the different things you need in great athletic performance.
They may be US based in Denver, Colorado, but there was never any doubt of this team's allegiance.
I felt the opportunity to make history was more important and be representative of my ancestral home. We're the first team to do a lot of things because we're the first team in Africa, and we're trying to inspire other nations to start their own federations. But as of right now, we are not only representing the country of Nigeria and our individual states within Nigeria, but we're representing the whole continent of Africa.
The youngest and newest member of the team is embracing every second.
I felt great. I felt proud. I felt like I was doing something, you know. I was helping out, and I was doing something new, you know, a new experience, a new adventure. So I was really excited. Maybe too much excitement for that first stone. So it probably cleared the ice without.
Next stages would be securing sponsorships for building an ice house or ice hall.
Coming all the way from there, but indeed we can tell you that shocked the world when it comes to curling over there, being the first African side to ever qualify. Just a couple were able to do this in no time. Of course, Kenny, you can see all that. We're shocking the world in curling.
I think Nigeria have gotten to that point where we know we have the numbers.
Okay.
People scattered all around the world, and if there is any sport happening in any, you know, that little orbit around the world, you can almost be sure that there is a Nigerian participating. But representing Nigeria is now the issue, because most time they participate and then represent other countries. But they are now getting to understand representing Nigeria is way huge. That is why last 2 years we saw Adigun and the ladies with bobsleigh. Also, you know, we're talking about some players who are part of the skeleton, bobsleigh skeleton. They look so very similar. But Adigun and the girls, you know, broke. And Oprah had to, you know, interview them at some point, saying, you know, breaking up. And that is what the Cole family are now doing. And that is just what it's about. Nigerians are found everywhere. So we can break any ground, you know, whenever we wish to.
That is what it is over here, breaking records. That's what Nigerians do. Now we'll be connected live from USA right now, talking about Vermont, USA. Charles Nimet on the line on Skype to tell us about curling and the plans of Nigerian Curling Federation. Good afternoon to you, Charles. Now from here, I would say good afternoon to you.
A pleasure to speak with you today.
Nice to have you connected with us. Of course, we know that we had said Nigeria is really indeed breaking records when it comes to curling. And of course, we've got a Nigerian Curling Federation, which is doing so well. But let's start off with the fact that Nigeria seems to be having a niche in curling. Now, how far do you see Nigeria going with this niche we've been having here?
Well, we have a lot of steps still to take. But our goal is to eventually have local teams training in Nigeria and competing internationally at curling events like the Olympics or World Championships.
Okay, now looking at the fact that, how do you rate our first appearance? We had known that a couple qualified Nigeria, being the African side, first ever to qualify, and we had broken a lot of records there. Now, how do you rate our first appearance?
Yeah, you know, despite some ups and downs, looking back over the last year or so, we feel that ultimately our first season was a success. You know, Nigeria became the first African country to win at an international curling event, and that is certainly something to be very proud of.
And we know that football around here is being embraced and taken to the highest level. Do you think curling would have so much interest in the likes of fans anytime soon?
Well, you know, it's a winter sport, as you've pointed out, and obviously that provides some limitations. But if you look at the history of the sport as represented in other countries, once it's introduced and ice facilities are available, the sport will grow. For example, look at the U.S. 10 years ago, very few people curled. And then in 2018, the U.S. won the gold medal at the last Winter Olympics. It's hugely popular now, all over the country. And we expect the same will happen in Nigeria once our teams are in place and we have shown what we can do on the international stage.
To promote curling in Nigeria, and if there are any, can you just reel them out to us?
Yes, well, we've actually been quite active on that front for the last year or so. Our coaches and athletes have been in Nigeria several times to hold a series of clinics at the National Stadium in Surulere. We held a fundraiser with local dignitaries and potential benefactors last fall in Lagos, and we've had multiple meetings with government officials over the last year in country to line up support. And going forward, we'll continue to do similar things into the future, and our plan also includes development of an ice curling facility in Nigeria, as you heard on the video, as well as the introduction of some new innovative training aids we've been developing that will allow our teams to continue to enhance their skills on dry land as we bridge that gap until we can travel again and have access to our own local facility. We're very excited about the future of curling in Nigeria.
Of the couple that had their first appearance for Nigeria over there, talking about the cold. Now, can we see a time when we'll have young teenagers or even children get into the sport in order to build the future for this sport in Nigeria?
Absolutely, that's our goal. We want to raise a homegrown team of local talent in Nigeria. Those are the people that we see on the international stage. For the time being, we do have some older folks like myself involved, but we have a great group of young people in Nigeria working very hard to replace us and get on the ice. So absolutely, we want local Nigerians in these international tournaments, and that's what our plan's all about.
Okay, now just to put you on the spotlight now, we know that there are a lot of cases there, coronavirus cases in the US. How are you staying safe, and how is everyone, the sporting fans over there, how are they coping with the fact that sport has been halted indefinitely?
Yeah, so we're all in quarantine like you all in Nigeria. So we're trying to stay active and work out at home to the extent we can, keep our minds sharp until such time that we can get back out and all meet again in person, which is something we're looking forward to in the near future.
Thank you so very much, Charles Nemeth, all the way from Vermont, USA. We appreciate your contribution today.
Thank you for having me on. Have a good day.
All right. Now, of course, Kenny, you've heard it over there, coming all the way from the director of Division Nigerian Quality Federation. Yeah. There is a big dream, and that big dream is achievable.
It's very achievable.